Code of conduct.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown. I put in extra work that just can't be found. I took the sword out the stone, wasn't a thing. Look me in my eyes cause I'm a king. Look me in my eyes cause I'm a king. God made me punch in accurate numbers. My castle won't crumble. What I tackle will fumble. I've been a leader when they ain't see it, but now my feet is up. According to me, royalty didn't end with King Tut. Crown on my head, clouds is at my legs. Big says sky is the limit. I look down on the ledge. I push the bar like I'm opening a cell. Hands in my cookie jar, you won't come out with a single nail. I need all of mine. The weight of my shoulders won't fit on a scale. What's a king to a giant? Well, Goliath fell. Even if we playin' chess, dog, this king can't be checked. I make all my moves on the board, I invented my steps. I'm a king, the blood of a ruler. I feel like Mansa Musa. Make your squad disappear like landing by the Bermuda. Triangle, look at it from my angle. I'm a king, the closest thing to being one of God's angels. I'm a king. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. I put in extra work that just can't be found. I took the sword out the stone, wasn't a thing. Look me in my eyes cause I'm a king. Look me in my eyes cause I'm a king.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. This is the Code of Conduct with the King podcast. I am your host, JSpenceTheKing, and you are listening to this on the Buffalo Rumblings Podcast Network presented by Picasso Pizza. Treat yourself to the most flavorful pizza on game day. Picasso's. We are Buffalo Pizza, shipping local and nationwide. Order online at picassopizza.net. What's going on, everybody? Y'all see I got my man with me. I've been excited. He ain't my Buffalo guy no more, but he's still my dog. My man Levi's in the building. What's going on, man?
Man, what's good, Spence? I can't call it. Smooth as always. How you been?
Man, I've been good. It's been this year is definitely starting off better than last year. Right. So we're gonna keep that energy going for the rest of the year. Hey, before we went live here, we were just talking for a second, and last year I was at his golf tournament, and this man Jamie that's hanging with him was trying to tell me that Tua is better than I was giving him credit for. And guess what? He was right, man. I gotta say it on air so that way, you know, I mean, it's out there. He got me. I was wrong. Tua's a little bit better, but he do have to stay healthy. We got some people in here. Happy to see you, man. We got John Herring saying he misses you. Steph is here. David Reed said good to see you. They'll be piling in, so we'll get some comments later on. But man, let's just catch up, man. How's Pittsburgh treating you, man? How's everything going?
Man, Pittsburgh's solid, man. Love the city. Love teammates, of course. Coach T is super dope. So it's fun to play there. Good first year. To get my grounding in and realizing there's no straight roads in Pittsburgh, man. It's all curves and hills and stuff. But all in all, it's good, man. It's good. I really like it.
Yeah, man. You know what? I guess we kind of just jump right into certain things too, because I was looking at it. Statistically, this is your best year, or at least if you're looking at interceptions and stuff like that. I didn't look at every PFF metric and all that stuff, but this is the most careers interceptions you've had for a season. What is it like? Is this system better for your skill set, or are you just kind of growing into like a different, like, you know what I mean? Like you're just kind of learning the game a little bit differently for yourself and it's paying off?
I think a lot of people thought that I was kind of a system guy, and the system in Buffalo was really good for me, and that's why I was having success. And so with a completely different system, where we don't play as much, quarters as Buffalo does. I think it's more about the person. I think I kind of proved that this year. It's more about the player. Here at Bama, we played a lot of man-to-man. So, it's three different systems that I've been now, and I've had success in all of them. And so, all in all, I think I'm a good football player, and it's simple as that. So, obviously, we have a great D-line that gets the quarterback to rush, and we do a great job with Coach T and TA and even great at DB coach, just setting us up in a position to make plays. And so, I try to take advantage as much as I could this year.
Yeah, your secondary is good too, man. Y'all got some ballers back there. So, I mean, defensively, I don't think Pittsburgh is ever one of those teams that you look at and it's like, like you always know defensively, y'all gonna roll out a good squad. So now I was happy to see that though, man. Like, cause like you said, that was kind of like what some people thought, like, oh, it's McDermott's or it's it's the defensive system that Frazier runs, and
Yeah.
but then you go there and then you have a better year than you had when you were with us. You keep proving people wrong, just every step of the way, man. I love it. I love it. I know. So you playing with your guy again, Minka. What was it? How has that been as a pro instead of college and all that?
Interesting, man. So it's good. It's one of my best friends, and being able to play with him again was super dope. Just growing the brotherhood that we have off the field even more has been super good for me. We push each other just as men, and spiritually as well. And so it's been good connecting with him off the field and just being closer to him. But on the field, we had to learn each other all over again. It's been a couple of
Mhm.
years since we've played together, and just comparing him to the safeties in Buffalo. I've played with all pro safeties at this point
Mhm.
in my time in career in the league. And so they all play differently. And so it's just learning Minka again and finding out just about him and what makes him so successful. And he had another great year with 6 interceptions this year, the tied for first in the league. And so just understanding him again as a player was super challenging. At the same time, I respect him and the work ethic that he has and the way he plays the game too. So it was super dope just being with him again. And he had to learn me as well as a corner. And we both know we're two good football players, but when you're in a DB unit, it's about how good the unit plays together. So it was good.
Mhm. Yeah, man, so I'll be honest, because you were there, this is probably the most Pittsburgh Steelers football that I've watched. Like, I'm a Bills fan. You know where I'm at, but
Right.
you went there and I'm like, my man is there. I'm gonna go check it out. I've watched a healthy amount of y'all games, and I tell you what, not just because I love Tremaine, but Terrell impressed me a lot. Like he's solid, man. So like, yeah, like I said, y'all got a good unit. You mentioned the defensive line. Um, TJ Watt's different. That dude is different, man. In Buffalo, I feel like because you weren't here this season when Von was here, and so we had other guys on the line, but I don't feel like in Buffalo we've ever had, while you were here, somebody like TJ. So uh, how does that change things for you as a DB? Like, obviously he gets to the quarterback a little bit quicker, but I, I just have to imagine like it kind of makes your job a little less stressful when you got a guy like that on the line.
Yeah. And so there's two different things, right? So you got TJ, who's this just gifted freak, um, super smart, super instinctive, and he plays on the left side of the line where I play. And so it's like I got to remember that he's going to get his hands up if he can't get back there. So it reminds me, I'm so eye disciplined to always drive the route, and I've missed a bunch of opportunities with tip balls because I'm not looking back at the quarterback. And so
Mhm.
it's a different way for me to play. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's okay to get your eyes back just to see because ball's been like right past my face, and I wasn't able to make plays on him. So it's dope having that. But then he also gets a lot of attention, and we got Cam Hayward, who's going to be a Hall of Famer one day, and
Mhm.
Alex Highsmith had 14 sacks this year because all the attention goes to TJ, and so and then we got Larry, um, who's just dominant in his own right, and so it was just having a great D line. But TJ, I mean, the first day in camp practice, I think he went up and got a pick six on like a screen. It's like, man, you just see it, man. TJ's different. He's one of the best players
Yeah,
in the league.
just
Overall, just super instinctive. So it's dope being his teammate for sure, and he
yeah.
makes us all better.
Yeah, no, I mean you could see it, man. He just and I get it. Like I said, in Buffalo this year we had Vaughn before he hurt his knee, and me living out here in Phoenix, I got a chance to see TJ's brother play, and even though like at this point of his career, he's not JJ from Houston, he still has his moments where it's just like, oh, that dude, you can see why they paying him all that money. So
Right.
no, that's dope, man. You're talking about missed opportunities and stuff like that, but you got an interception towards the end of the season here that everybody, after everything that happened with Damar, um and I'm sure you've probably been asked about this a few times at this point now, but I think I read somewhere that you didn't keep the ball, you sent it back to Orchard Park.
Yeah, yeah. And so, as a matter of fact, I have to send it tomorrow. I just finished signing it. But the couple days before the game, I said, if I get an opportunity to make a play on the ball, I get an interception, I'm sending it to Damar. I mean, that's when you play DB, especially in the close knit group that we were in Buffalo, you get to learn a lot about guys. And I hate that I couldn't be there, to be um, a part of the unit and help. You know what I mean? Because obviously I'm not there, but I'm hurting as well because I just got
Yeah.
to know him and just the kind of person he is. And so I dedicated that ball to him and have an opportunity to send it off tomorrow to him just to show that my love and support is here. And he always has a brother, especially in Pittsburgh where he's so loved and well known. So I definitely wanted to do that for him.
Yeah, and I was reading, and one of the things that I saw you said is that Damar reminds you of yourself in certain ways. If you feel comfortable, kind of sharing some insight on why you said that, because I thought it was interesting. In me knowing the person you are now, like to read that, I know it means something. So
Yeah. It reminds me of myself when I first came into the league. So obviously I was only with him for a year. But the way he came in as a professional, even at such a young age, just willing to learn and grow, especially behind Poyer and Micah, just ask questions, never stop asking questions. Always curious about what's next, how to play something better. And then you just saw when he got his opportunity this year, the impact that he made. And he's always been an instinctive player to me. And just to see from year one to year two, the growth and the jump that he had. And when his number was called upon, he made the most of it and played really well and exceptional for the Bills. And so it was dope just seeing a guy who works as hard as he does, like I did when I first came into the league, and just wanted to know more and grasp more and be able to go out there and make plays. And that's exactly what he did. So definitely reminds me of myself when I first came to the league.
okay, yeah, and I feel like I think, and I didn't look this up before talking about it, but I feel like he either led the team in tackles or was like near the top in team in tackles, and like you said, a player like him, coming in and you're sitting behind two All Pro safeties, so you probably don't think you're going to see the field no time soon, and then Micah goes down. He stepped up big time, man. Like, and I don't know, every time I talk about him now, I kind of get chills just even thinking about how the whole thing, because he's influencing a completely different type of movement in the country. And I know you're a spiritual person as well, and your mom and your family. I think the most impressive thing for me throughout all of this was the unity that it showed throughout
Mhm.
the country. And then you started to see on TV like certain people praying, like the guys on ESPN praying on TV.
Right.
You don't see that, especially when it comes to the NFL. Um, what how does that resonate with you? How does that make you feel when you kind of saw all of these different type of things happening around surrounding his injury?
Uh, I think it just shows the unity and the realness. I think it kind of eye opened a lot of things to one the dangers of the sport that we play. It's we put our lives on the line, we put our bodies on the line, um, and sometimes people kind of just see us as not human, so they think they can tweet anything or just tell us anything about a play. You know what I mean? Something that doesn't define us. Something that nobody's going to remember in 20 years or 50 years or 100 years. You know what I mean? One day nobody's gonna watch your signature, and we'll wake up and that'll happen. So it's about the person that you were, and just seeing how he impacted so many people before this injury, and then you just got the feeling of, um, how many people donated to his foundation and the cause and
Yeah.
all that. I mean, it is so dope just to see the unity behind this whole thing, that we can get behind a person that we still have um, real love for people, especially in this fallen world that we live in, where bad things happen each and every day. And so it's super dope that, unfortunately, that he had to go through that, and hurt a lot of us. And at the same time, um, what we thought was bad, God turned around and made good. And so the unity there is so real. And I know he's going to continue to grow that and continue to show his love for other people, as other people have done for him.
Yeah, man. You mentioned his charity, man, or the toy drive and all that, man. To have the goal be 2,500, and then like now is north of $8 million. It's incredible. It's just incredible. I did see that you and Terrell and a couple other of your teammates went by his mother's daycare after it all happened, and I think for fans in Buffalo, and I'm sure at this point it's not just about Buffalo anymore because everybody kind of became a Damar fan in that moment. But I think for fans in Buffalo to kind of see that unity, even though you're a Steeler now, you're not a Buffalo Bill, and Terrell, and I forget the other gentleman, and I apologize, but like I just think seeing that type of unity from another team, and then seeing all the other teams, change their profile picture to pray for Damar, and then literally just everything. I just think I don't know, it was unreal in a way to me, man. Like I'm just not used to seeing. I can't even think of the last time in sports, or really just in life recently, where we've come together like this as a nation. And I just thought it was beautiful, man. What speaking about foundations, what's next, or what do you have coming up for the Levi Wallace Foundation?
So, matter of fact, tomorrow we have our meeting to schedule out the rest of the year with events and ideas and stuff like that. Next thing we have on the schedule is a golf tournament in March, and that'll be in Arizona at Raven Golf Course. If anybody's interested in registering, leviwallace.org. But we have a lot of Bills players coming out, Steelers players, obviously, but other guys around the league who just want to golf for a good cause and help with my foundation. And so registration is open. We already got more than half the people already registered. So registration is filling up quick, but it should be a great time. We have tons of sponsors coming out. We just actually got another one today. Bad Birdie is going to be one of the main sponsors out there as well, as well as other sponsors that we have for the foundation. So it should be a great turnout. Obviously, you're invited. We need you to come out there and show your love like you did last year, especially with the auction. Nobody else can hold an auction like you. So it should be a great time. You know what I mean? And I got to make sure I beat Poyer this year because that's my first goal.
Man, he's so competitive, like in everything. I don't think I've ever met somebody who competes with everything. Like he's just intense. So
you know what? I'm super competitive, and the difference is that he's really good at everything too. Like him and Micah are like really good at like ping pong, like something random. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like even like pool, like Poyer's like, oh, I haven't really played pool in a long time. He's still like super decent. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not on your best game, he's gonna beat you. And those guys are just natural athletes. You know what I mean? Where it just comes easy to them and natural. Even card games, like, you know what I mean? Like, who's good at all card games? Like, I'm super good at board games and stuff like that. But I mean, you teach it to them one time and they're super good. So it's definitely gonna be hard to beat him. And he's super exceptional at golf, anyways. But last year he put a beating on me at my tournament and at his tournament in Florida. So I've while he's still playing football right now, I've been swinging my clubs. So hopefully we get an upper hand on him this year.
Yeah, I think he's gonna try to go pro after he retires from football. He gonna get out there on the course, and it's crazy. You're right. I think he is good. Like he, I haven't seen Micah play, but no, Jordan absolutely came out there last year, and he wasn't. It wasn't a charity thing for him. It was all serious. Let's go. So
for sure.
But yeah, so let's get a little bit back to football. That's gonna be fun. I can't wait. You already know I'm there, man. I was last year I was reflecting on it. So last week Jordan was actually on the show, and I was reflecting with him on the show how when we were doing the auction is when we all got the news that the shooting at Tops happened. And just how for me, I don't even know if you remember this, but when I was there, I didn't realize that one of my family members was one of the victims. So it kind of upset me because it's like, all right, I just went back to doing stuff as normal, and it didn't affect me until, or at least not the way I felt like it should have affected me until I found out who it was. But I did want to say this publicly. I want to thank you and your mom, man. Like y'all handled just me and everything with such care and grace, man. And I appreciate y'all forever. Like your mom is an angel, man. I probably say that every time I talk to you now, but I mean, she's such a great person, man. Please give her my love and tell her I say, hey, I can't wait to see her again for this next tournament, man. But no, absolute fantastic family.
Appreciate that. I try to raise her the right way, but she's no, she's doing well, and I know she thinks the world of you as well. And so I know she's super excited to see you. but we've lost loved ones as well, so we know what it's like, and so obviously any way that we could have helped you in that moment, we try to do our best, and that's all we can do.
Yeah, well, like I said, y'all did, and I appreciate y'all for that. So let's I guess pivot back to something a little more fun for a second. Let's talk a little bit back about football. So you mentioned Coach Tomlin earlier. How much how much is he involved in the defensive scheme? I know you got so many defensive minds over there now. I mean, even I think it's the linebackers coach now with Flores,
Mhm.
but he's still like the defensive assistant. So it's so many defensive minds there. How hands on is Tomlin with the defense?
He's super hands on, super. Um, he does something kind of different that I've never done. I've never known head coaches just to have meetings with players, like a group of guys, which is super dope. We were able to, I mean, every two I think Wednesday and Thursday, right after special teams. If you weren't in special teams, mean you were in there with Coach T, defensive players. I'm talking, and just taking down notes and what he sees. And it's always good to have that defensive mindset and just see the notes that he has and how he thinks the game's going to go, and the mindset behind the calls. And so I think that was a real big advantage for me this year. I was able to see a lot more, just understanding and even being able to guess. In my first, like I can guess what Frazier's going to call because I've been there for so long. But when
Mhm.
you get to a place, for a couple months, you don't really know. And so I think that gave me the advantage to think about, okay, like, let me see what the calls are. Let me see how this game's going to be called. Let me see his mindset behind these calls. And so he does a great job of just explaining it all, and why we're calling those calls. You know what I mean? So some players are just like, just tell me what to do and I'm going to line up and do it. And I think when you start understanding why things are being called, it opens up the game a lot more, especially through a defensive coach's mindset. So, and at the same time, he everybody thinks he's a defensive mindset coach, and he'll surprise you and be like, all right, I'm meeting with offense today. You know what I mean? And bring the quarterbacks in and the receivers, and just show his versatility. So super dope having a coach like that for sure.
Man, I love him. I feel like he's still underrated somehow. Like, like I just feel like he gets love and it's fair, but I just still feel like he's underrated. He's my favorite coach in the league. Sorry, Buffalo fans. I've been saying this for years. This isn't nothing new. Coach Tomlin is my favorite coach in the league, but for several reasons. I feel like he has the ability to relate to all the players.
Mhm.
He has the ability to understand the players, and then even you see him on the pressers, man. Like, and he just has such a personality, and it's just like he's so in depth with his answers when they ask him questions. He will really explain things, and he'll really put things out there to where people like me who aren't on the level of you and all these other guys playing, we can really understand it and really grasp how he sees the game. Like I said, not as in depth as when he talks to you, but I just think he's phenomenal, man. And I hear all the time. I don't think so. I hear all the time that I sound like him. I don't think that I do. People keep saying you close your eyes and just listen. You sound like Coach Tomlin. I'd say that just means he got a great voice if he sounds like that.
I don't know about all that, but yeah,
Yeah, I don't either. I don't either.
he's super easy to relate to. I mean, even first couple weeks of me just getting to know him, we got to get comfortable around each other, and then out of nowhere, it just kind of took off, and it hasn't been the same since. We joke, we laugh. I mean, he's a dude. You know what I mean? He makes you feel comfortable, like you're part of the family, and
Yeah,
so just playing for a guy like that, that you can just relate to and just talk about life because he cares about you as a man as well, and McDermott did too.
yeah,
Um, just like to have real conversations about things you're struggling with, and sometimes you go to work and you think it's business. And he's like, man, I care about the dude too. You know what I mean? And so I think that's why a lot of players give up so much of themselves trying to play for him, even with us being like 6-8, 7-8 or whatever.
yeah,
We're like, man, if we're not even making it to the playoffs. We got to win this for Coach T. And,
yeah.
and he never not once brought it up. You know what I mean? Not to say that it was in the back of his mind or something, but we all knew like we had to go out here and play the hardest that we could to keep this winning season alive because that's just the type of man you want to play for. And so we did.
Man, and you know what? You're talking about how he like cares about you and he cares about. I'm sure everybody kind of saw the clip by now, but there was a clip going out a while ago when he was on I Am Athlete with Ryan Clark and all of those guys. And Ryan was talking about when he was injured and he kind of, went through all of that stuff he went through. And Coach Tomlin basically told him, like, man, you know, you're not playing. And he gave the reasons why. And he told him why he protected him from himself and why he loved him. And just to hear those type of conversations. And I think he said, if this was my son, this is how I would want my son handled. So like to hear you kind of reiterate that, man, I think that's dope, man. Like he a good dude, really. I love McDermott, but no, Coach Tomlin, he that dude. Dude.
For sure.
So let me get some of your insight, man, because you play in a division now with the guys that we going up against this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So so you saw them twice this year. We started to play against them, and then like I said, everybody knows what happened with Damar, so the game was canceled. But going into this game, with knowing what you know about how the Bills play defense and how we've been playing over the course of the season, especially as of late, and then knowing what you know about Cincinnati now, what do you see as a factor, or why, what do you see that the Bills have to kind of do or focus on in order to come out victorious this weekend?
I think for me, obviously I haven't been able to study the Bills as years pass. So I don't know how they lost this year in terms of like the whole, their losses. I know in the years past, if we couldn't stop the run, then we lose that game. And I think playing the AFC North it's different. You have running backs, you know what I mean, with Mixon and Najee and Ravens with Dobkins, and it's just all the way around hard, right? And so first and foremost, they want to establish line of scrimmage, and I don't think they'll let Joe just drop back and let Buffalo's D-line just start trying to hunt him, right? And so in the back end, obviously they have some really good receivers who can win one-on-one. And then you have Joe, who's just super competitive. So it's going to be a challenge, man. And even just a little snippet of the game that I watched at the beginning, obviously teams have their first 15 plays and, they walked the ball down there and scored. And it's no surprise. It's not like a team that you play each and every week. So you have to be ready for it, especially a lot of emotions on Monday night. And I expect the game's going to be the exact same way, super emotional. I think, if Buffalo settles in early, they have a great defense going against a great offense. Obviously, everybody's going to see how well the O-line can protect Joe, from being sacked. But they have some really good receivers, and Buffalo has some really good back seven too. So it should be really good. And I think obviously Buffalo has to take care of the ball, not turn the ball over, not give Joe Burrow more opportunities than what he needs, but I think the offense is going to do what they do, is put points up. And so should be a great matchup, man. I'm expecting a really good game. I'd say like maybe 20s, like it's two good defenses. So maybe high 20s. I hope it's not a shootout with 40 something, you know what I mean? Because I know Buffalo, their pride is not going to let 40 points happen, No. So, and I know AFC North, they know how good the Bills can be when they're on. And so I look forward to the game. It should be two great teams going against each other for sure.
I tell you what, man, my heart can't take a 40-point game. Like I was tripping this past weekend against the Dolphins. I'm like, why do they have so many points, man? Yeah. But you know how it goes. It's the league, and every week you going against some professionals. Now their defense or their offensive line is actually beat up now, so I know they're missing some key players. I think I agree with you. Like the protection of Burrow for them is going to be key. If they can't protect him with their backup, and I mean they're all professionals, but I mean if they can't protect him with the backup line that they have in there, it's going to be some problems. But then Sarah's saying the same thing. You hear that, Josh? What you saying about the turnovers? We can't turn the ball over like we did this past week. You let teams stay in it, or you let teams feel like the momentum is on their side, and things get ugly, man. So,
yeah. I think also too. I don't think Joe's never played. A lot of those guys never played in Buffalo before.
Right.
And that environment's different. like a lot of guys never played in Cincinnati before. That environment's different. And so I think with them coming, I'm not sure what time the game is. Is it a night game? Have we found out?
It's 3:30, I believe.
Oh,
3 o'clock.
you know how Buffalo is, man. The crowd is going to be super turned up, super emotional because the last time they met up, and it's hard to win in Buffalo. It really is. And so um, I think if the defense goes out there like I know they will, off rip and try to establish themselves, um, it should get very interesting. But I think Josh is going to play his best ball this game too. He always seems to rise up when uh, great teams coming to town. I mean, he's such a competitor, and I'm sure he'll play lights out too. It's going to be a really good game. I'm definitely going to be tuned in and watching, not cheering, obviously, going for Pittsburgh, but I still want my guys to have really good games as well. So I'll be looking for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think Josh, when the lights are on, or when they're the brightest, or when it's the biggest moment, he kind of steps up and turns into this, unworldly. Like he puts up numbers in some of those moments where it's just like, how did he do this? I got one more question for you, man, and then we can. I'm gonna take just a couple questions from the comments, and then I'll let you get on out of here. I appreciate you spending time with me, man.
Yeah.
It's always fun. I got to ask you though, how did it feel getting that interception against us when you earlier the season when you played?
How did it feel? I mean, I honestly didn't feel anything because I just let that freaking 98-yard touchdown get caught
Yeah,
by Gabe Davis.
yeah.
And that's just me learning the system because we had him doubled on that play. And it was a weird double that we had changed after the fact. So, I mean, obviously, and that's the only way you beat a double is by splitting it. And he did. And so I caught the interception. I honestly didn't feel anything. I was like, it's like ups and downs in a game. And so if I had got that, before I did anything, man, it might have been bad. It's probably a good thing that I got scored on before because I'd have probably acted a fool and kicked the ball or something, did something crazy. But, it was, I didn't take it personal. And I knew going into that game that Josh is going to try me a couple of times just because that's just who he is. He, goes at people who he thinks he can try. And so, I knew that I was on Gabe, who I've had plenty of reps to go against, and we're in the red area. So I got my head back around quick, knowing that Josh was going to throw it. I just made a good play on the ball. So, we ultimately lost that game. And obviously I was hoping we got in the playoffs because I definitely want to play the Bills again, especially in that environment again. It's just, I love playing in Buffalo, whether you're a visiting team, home team, it doesn't matter. And so I was looking forward to getting back there and making some more plays, but they came out and did what they had to do too. So they're a good team, which we all knew. And, hopefully we play them in the future. They're not on the schedule next year, but I look forward to playing them, further down the line and maybe picking off Josh again.
Yeah, we'll play you in January next year. I think for real, man. I think y'all the early struggles hurt you. I think for sure the Steelers are a better team than what the record shows at the end of the year. But whether you love or hate or whatever, Mitch had some struggles early, and then you switch to a rookie. And he has some struggles. Kenny has some struggles. So I think once he started to kind of figure his way out as well, he has a really good Pickens. He has a really good vibe with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the more he grows that and the more he kind of gets this offense, just understands it and learns the offense, I think he'll definitely be fine going forward. And I think y'all gonna win a lot more games than what you did this year. The division though, man, I feel like everybody, the AFC East was tough this year because, pretty much everybody was above 500 until, like the late part of the season. But man, y'all don't play in the easy division either, man. When it's, you got your team, like I said, you got Lamar out there and the Ravens ain't fun. I think next year coming up, depending on how things go, Cleveland might be better than what they were this year too, and then obviously we're already talking about the Bengals. So I don't know. I think what it comes down to, man, y'all got a tough division. The quarterback got to grow. Same thing that happened with Josh early. Josh had to grow a little bit. But I think y'all going to be there at the end, when it comes to your division next year, man. But
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
think the biggest thing is, like I said, the year 1 and year 2. That goes for all the rookies, including Pickens and Pickett, both because
hmm
there's film on them now, right? And so teams start looking like, okay, like how do we defend this? Who's his go-to? Da 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 da. Um, so it's you kind of got to change your game, and how you develop in the off season is key going into the next season. And we threw Pickett out there against one of the best defenses in Buffalo for his first start, and
yeah,
so
that was rough.
it's you know what I mean. It's tough to go against Buffalo in your first start, and trust me, I know what that defense was saying the whole week. Like you're not bringing a rookie in here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
And, I mean, but he's a good player. You can tell he's a competitor, just like Josh. Um, not afraid of the big moments, not afraid of big throws. I mean, he had 2 winning drives for us in the back end of the year. And we went 50-50 with every team in our division. And we didn't even get to see Lamar this year. He was hurt in both the games, and so
hmm
don't know if he's going to be back or not. But we definitely have a good division, especially with the Bengals, who are on top of it right now. And so moving forward, and, we dealt with injuries with TJ being out
hmm
for a lot of those games where we went 1-6 without him, and when he came back, we went like 7-2. So he's definitely a key component to what we do. But moving forward, everybody has to grow, and even myself in the system. As the more I got in it, the more comfortable I got, and understanding how I need to play in the system and how fast the ball comes out with this D line at 100%. And so, just a lot of intricate things that we'll move and build upon for next season. And hopefully, like you said, we get there in the playoffs and we develop that chemistry in the back end for sure.
yeah.
Free
Well, hopefully,
free agency is also a key component, and trying to see who
hmm
comes in and who leaves. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
a lot of pieces that are going to go into this offseason and kind of develop those relationships. And I know for me, I think the biggest thing that I want to do is change. Um, in Buffalo, we're super close knit, right? Our DB unit was super close. We went out to eat every Thursday, and we did a couple times in Pittsburgh, but we made it like a point in Buffalo to do it. And so I definitely want to make that a point in Pittsburgh moving forward, because that's just how you build ultimate trust and chemistry, and knowing where your teammates are on off the field, and nobody's pointing fingers, not like we did, but where you just have that third sense of trust, you know what I mean? Where you
hmm
just know where somebody's going to be because you shared a meal with them, where you met their family, you know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
you can't coach. And so hopefully we grow that aspect as well.
Well, that's the leadership aspect that I can see that you're growing into as well. Because, like, obviously in Buffalo, you didn't have to have that because you already had that close knit group. So, but I can see that developing for you out there, man, and I love it because that next contract, this one is nice too, but that next one, you got to get that bag. Like,
For
you're gonna
sure.
have to get that bag, yeah. So, but yeah, man. Again, thank you for joining me, man. I always enjoy talking to you. I'm gonna let you get back to enjoying your time out there with your people down visiting college, right? Or you just visited
Yeah,
him?
I'm in Tuscaloosa right now. Coaches for Bama. So
Okay.
I got down here today just visiting my dog, and he's getting married this off season, so I gotta get my tux ready and figure
Hey,
out all that stuff. So, but seeing him, I hadn't seen him, I think maybe since 4th of July. So it's just good catching up with him.
man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, tell Jamie I said I appreciate him letting you whatever. I know y'all was partying. So I tell him I said thank you for letting you kick it with me for this time, man. And like I said, I'll get me all of the stuff. I'll make sure I blast it for your golf tournament. And then are you doing the football camp this year too?
We are. And that's what we'll talk about tomorrow, the exact
Okay,
dates.
okay.
It's gonna be June 17th in Tucson. But we'll solidify that tomorrow. So, yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna get on out of here. I got a couple comments for you. No questions, just some comments. Levi, miss you here in Buffalo. Good to see you. RJ says, thank you, Levi. I'm glad he was here. Such a good person. Really, all of the comments, every single comment that I see basically has the same thing where it's just like, such a good dude. We miss you here. And I tell you what, there were some times this year too. We could have used you, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like it just is what it is. That's the honest to God truth of it. We could have used you in some of these big moments, but man, I'm happy that you're succeeding out there in Pittsburgh. Keep doing it, keep killing. I'm gonna keep rooting for you, man.
I appreciate you, Spence. All love for sure. And we'll stay in contact for sure. No doubt.
For sure. All right. Y'all know how I do it over here. It's code of conduct. Y'all love each other, take care of each other, and live in peace. And as always, stay positive, test negative. Go Bills.
Code of conduct.